All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Now, I know what you may be thinking. This isn't Roblox, and there's a good reason for that. Um, Although I haven't played Roblox in a very long time, I kind of was just feeling like doing something a little different with the channel today. And I've had this thought on my mind for quite a while to review all of the albums in my music collection. Um, I don't know if I talk about this much in the Roblox videos from like a year ago, but um, I collect a lot of music. I got a lot of records. I have a lot of CDs, and it's been a hobby of mine for quite a while now. I would say probably a good 10 years almost. Isn't that crazy? Although obviously I've been listening to music for a lot longer. I'm just saying in the context of collecting it all, CDs and records and whatnot. It's been quite a while of collecting, and it only ramped up when I kind of started college. We have this place called Bookman's. If you guys have that there, it's a pretty great place to get a lot of that stuff. So anyway, I thought today would be fitting to start with the album that I feel like really started it all for me, which is Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream. Now, it didn't start the collecting or anything, but I feel like, as far as my love of music in general, the Smashing Pumpkins are my favorite band, with, without a doubt, by a long shot. And in that vein, Siamese Dream was the first album I bought from them and probably just listened to all the way through religiously. I listened to it on the way home from work, on the way to school, on the way home from school, on the way to work, everywhere and in between. I listened to it in my car because my car still has a CD player. Believe it or not, a car made in 2018 has a CD player. That's crazy, isn't it? So I will probably review most of the Smashing Pumpkins albums. I definitely will review Gish to Machina, at least, because those, in my opinion, are their best ones and the ones I can listen to all the way through, no issues. Just phenomenal albums. But we'll start with Siamese Dream today, because I really do feel like this is where it started. This is where my love for the band started. I went from this album, listened to Machina, or sorry, listened to Melancholy, and then thought that album was amazing. Listened to Adore, thought Adore sucked, and then I loved Adore. And then I listened to Machina, and I thought Machina sucked, and then I love Machina now. So really kind of an evolution here with that. But we'll talk about Siamese Dream today because, as I say, every second on the second, it's what started it all. So Siamese Dream, I've got the picture here. I've got the set list pulled up. Um, we'll do kind of a song by song and what I like about it, and then maybe like kind of a summary at the end. So to begin, we have Cherub Rock. Now, I think this is probably my favorite intro to any of their albums. It's also probably one of my favorite songs by them, if not my favorite. I love the drum intro. It's like a drum roll that rolls into the song. It's absolutely incredible. And then just the whole verses, the chorus, the guitar part, it's just all phenomenal. It's great. And Cherub Rock is also one of the earlier songs I learned to play on guitar. So I just can't help but playing it every time I pick up a guitar. It's one of those songs that you just go to, because I enjoy it so much, and it's just such a great riff as well. Um, for the next track, we have Quiet, a strong second, and I feel like Quiet really sets up a tone like this is going to be a very heavy album, because Quiet is a very heavy song, especially for the Smashing Pumpkins. They can get pretty heavy, but they're also a lot more on the mellower side or more experimental side, that kind of thing, right? Quiet coming after Sharon Brock kind of makes it seem like this album is going to be very heavy, very in tune for 90s alternative, maybe very grungy. Quiet is an incredible song. It was probably my favorite song on this album before Sharon Brock. My taste changed. It happens. But Quiet is an incredible song. And then, almost as if to spite the idea that it's that they're a heavy band, they have Today, which is the third track, and Today is it's the greatest. What can I say? But this song is actually blown up quite a lot on TikTok if you follow any of that kind of social media on TikTok. Same thing with 1979, which is on Melancholy, which I guess we'll talk about later. But Today is a great song. The music video is great if you haven't seen that. James Iha dresses like a woman. He's the guitar player. It's pretty funny. And then Billy Corgan picks him up in his ice cream van that he ditched his job for. It's a pretty great music video. Also a really great song to go along with it. Next is Hummer. Now Hummer is a bit of a long song, but I mean everything about it. I feel like if you were to choose a song that really encapsulates this album as a whole, I would actually probably choose Hummer. It's very slow. The riff on it is really it just sounds like a Pumpkins riff, and then it gets a bit heavier in the chorus. It's just a long song. It's got a lot of depth to it, but it's just a phenomenal song, and it really does explain. I feel like it's just the best way to put this album. You know what I mean? Hummer just is the perfect song to describe this album. It really is the sound of this album in one song, in my opinion. Next we have Rocket, which, has people call this album a lot of genres. If there's any genre I would say Rocket is, it sounds very shoegazy with the riff, right? I mean, it's a great song anyway. The music video for this one is also great, but usually I don't think most of these songs fall into like the shoegaze category. Rocket is probably the only one I would say falls into the shoegaze category, because the riff is kind of hard to discern. All you know is it sounds good, which is good. And Rocket's a great song. Disarm. The first acoustic track on this album, not the last, but the first, and it is definitely one of their biggest songs ever. It's very, very sad, very powerful. And I think, if you're listening to this album all the way through, you probably couldn't really get any of the vibe, more like the more sad undertones, but this song kind of drives it home. I think it's about like child abuse, that kind of thing. So, it kind of drives it home, but it's a great song. It's a really good acoustic song. There's all the strings going on in it. It's very, very sad, very emotional. But, they put that in the middle because, I don't know. I guess they didn't really want to end it on that kind of note. That's why it's immediately followed up with Soma, the longest song on this album, I believe, unless you're counting the song I cannot say, Silver F Word. I think that song is longer by a long shot. But Soma is also a very long song. It's got a lot of guitars going through it. Legend has it he played all those different guitars on this song and whatnot, but this song is, incredible. I'm going to say that about every single song on this album because they all really are phenomenal. Soma is what can I say? It's long, it's droning, goes on and on and on, but you never really want it to stop. That's the kind of song Soma is. And then we have Geek USA. You can't really see it in the left there, but that's Geek USA, which is another great drum intro, by the way. Jimmy Chamberlain on the drums is an absolute master on the drums. I guess that's the best way to put it. He's truly, I think, one of the greatest in that entire era, if not the greatest in that entire era. I think the only one who maybe even comes close is someone like Dave Grohl, just because Dave Grohl also does Foo Fighters and whatnot. Um, and he was in Queens of the Stone. I mean, Dave Grohl is just a great musician. Geek USA though, it's got a great drum intro. The riff, it's definitely a bit heavier. So getting back more into the heavier, more hard rock part of the album, and it's it just it's definitely got that hard rock pumpkin sound, the quintessential hard rock pumpkin sound, something like Quiet, something that we'll see from some other songs later in Melancholia. Wait for that video. That video is going to be like 30 minutes long going through all of those songs, so I might have to shorten some of the explanations for that album. But yeah, Geek USA is just great. It's a great hard rock song, absolute classic. Everything off this album is a classic. So Mayonnaise, it's a very slow song. It's spelled wrong, probably on purpose, I would hope. I think they always say they made jokes like that with their name and song titles and stuff like that. So probably just spelled wrong on purpose. However, Mayonnaise is a very slow song. It was a song I think I've heard in an interview was written like stream of consciousness, and it meant nothing, but it means something to Billy Corgan now. But it's although it really is a mishmash song of like lyrics and whatnot, it is, I don't know, it's weird. It does have a weird meaning to it. Whatever meaning you derive from it, I guess. That's what makes it such a great song. And a lot of people's favorite song off this album, I heard Mayonnaise is definitely a fan favorite, and I can see why. Because Mayonnaise is a great song, and I will never knock anyone for saying any Smashing Pumpkin song is their favorite, honestly. Next we go to the second acoustic song, Space Boy. Now, this song comes off very sad, and I don't even know if it's supposed to be sad. I mean, it's an acoustic song, so that already kind of gives the vibe that it'd be more sad, but it's got great strings in it, great acoustic guitar. I mean, the riff is great. The whole song kind of just comes together really well for an acoustic song, and it's kind of what you'd expect of an acoustic song from the Pumpkins. I mean, there's not much really wrong with it. And then we go to the next song, which almost to lull you into a false sense of security with Space Boy, you go into Silver F, which I probably can't say the F word, so I'm just going to avoid it. Which is a very long song, a very heavy song, a very angry song. Which is like, it's put in the middle of Space Boy and like Sweet Sweet and Luna. I think it's hilarious. And Mayonnaise, might I add. All very kind of like slow songs. Very, very happy, kind of happy and sad and everywhere in between. All these songs that just seem more mellow, and then you have Silver F. Which is, it's a great song, and I love when it comes up on the album, because you're done being put in your feelings from Space Boy apparently, and then you get to hear this song, which is a great song. It's very long. I would say, if anything, if you wanted this to be like a hard rock album through and through, this would probably be where you would end the album, and that's totally fine. It's a great song. And then we go to Sweet Sweet, which is a very short song, but it's sweet. It's very short. It's very upbeat, kind of happy sounding, and kind of a good segue into what is the end of the album, which is Luna. Luna is funny because it is probably the only Smashing Pumpkins song I've ever heard of being a wedding song. Maybe like, I don't know, you could maybe use Today. Maybe like a love song. I don't know. Some other love song they've written. They've written a lot of them, so maybe Stand Inside Your Love or something. But Luna is, I've heard in comments on the internet and stuff, which is really funny, that Luna could come across as a wedding song. And it's probably one of my more favorite songs on the album. It's just very it just makes you feel good. It's a good way to end this album, which a lot of people sometimes assume is kind of more of a sad album with some of the songs and the themes on it and whatnot. I think it's a good way to end it. It makes you feel good at the end of the album. You know what I mean? And it's really a great song, whether it's about love or parenthood or anything. You know, just make what you want of it. It's a good ending, and I think it's a great ending for this album in particular. So we'll go in summary. Uh, Shocker, shocker. This album is perfect. You should go and listen to it if you haven't, and then go and listen to the rest of the Smashing Pumpkins discography. Well, the first five, and then we start to get into some weird territory where we got things like Zeitgeist and Oceania and Shiny and Oh So Bright, which are all great albums. I don't know if they stand up to the first five, but you can't expect people to make perfect albums and hit the mark for their entire life. In 10 years, pretty much, was, I think, yeah, roughly around Gish to Machina, 10 years of perfect albums. I mean, that's better than most bands. So, but anyway, go listen to Siamese Dream. It is a 10. It is a 10 out of 10. If we're rating it on a scale, all the first five are I would say 10 out of 10s for 90s alternative rock, if you're into that sort of thing. And Smashing Pumpkins, still one of the biggest bands to this day, I think, and one of the only bands from the 90s that's still around, believe it or not. So with that said, and the perfect album, the first video of this kind out of the way, my next album I will be reviewing will probably go in order with the first five Pumpkins albums, except Gish. I probably won't review Gish because that boat's already sailed, and I skipped Gish to go to Siamese Dream because it's more important to me, just with what it is. So we'll probably go to Melancholy, and then Adore, and then Machina. And then I'll start reviewing the rest of my collection, which is a lot of mishmash stuff, a lot of other bands I definitely enjoy. Some other bands I have, a lot of their discography as well. But obviously I thought it was fitting to start with Smashing Pumpkins because that is my favorite band. I feel like that's where my love of music on a bigger sense and collecting and whatnot kind of came to fruition. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it was a little different than my usual video on this channel, but I've kind of just been thinking about this for a while. Made me happy doing it, made me smile, you know what I mean? So, and at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. So I hope you guys enjoy this in comparison to what I usually do, and I hope you'll follow along with the series. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe if you love music, and I will know if you don't. Anyway, have a great rest of your day, guys.